listening to FM1 FM. Stand by, I have on the line now our special guest. So now today's guest, we have multi-platinum singer-songwriter Sian Evans.
Hello. Oh wow, hiya.
Hello Sian, how are you?
That's quite an accolade for this time of the morning.
Thank you very much for taking the time to chat to us this morning.
No problem.
So I'm going to tell the listeners about you from I suppose from the beginning really. You were formerly frontwoman of 90s dance act Kosheen.
That's it, yeah.
And Kosheen is a name everyone has heard of, but there's a few people who might need reminding of what type of music you're doing. Can you tell us, our listeners, how it all started, really?
Well, it was quite a time in the 90s, you know, for electronic music and for our kind of culture there in Bristol. And, you know, Bristol was becoming known for its kind of trip-hop element, kind of cross-genre, kind of hip-hop and dance music. And I tell you what, it was a melting pot at that time of my life. I'm very privileged to have been a part of it and experienced a lot of it. Don't remember much of it, but it was an incredible time. And that sound, you know, synonymous with Bristol, was what we were tapping into. I mean, the guys were very strong already, Darren and Mark, with drum and bass, and I guess they wanted to develop their production and to bring a vocalist and a songwriter in seemed like the right thing to do, and it worked. You know, it really totally clicked from the very beginning. I've always been, you know, addicted to storytelling and songwriting, and the guys have been incredible with their production and the beats, and it just gelled, it worked, and Kosheen was born.
Wow. So, you know, you get the Manchester scene and you've got the London scene. The Bristol scene, you don't really hear much of. Obviously, like the Bristol scene, you had the likes of Massive Attack and Portishead.
Well, are you kidding? Wild Bunch and Massive Attack and Portishead. It you know, I guess because I'm in Wales now, I've moved back to Wales, and all Welsh women eventually return to the valleys, if you like. But I've come back. I lived in Bristol for many, many years. My son went to school there. But I've come back. But being in this part of the country, Bristol's really still quite up there with the, you know, the trailblazers for music, art, you know, Al Banksy, and, you know, it's just, I put us on a par with Manchester, most definitely.
Wow. So, do you come from a musical background, family? Have you?
I do.
Oh, wow.
I do. I've always warbled. I've always sang. My mother was a singer. My grandfather was a piano teacher and a choral arranger up in the valleys. You know, singing where, you know, it was very poor actually, working class area. But my grandfather was determined to teach piano for the bare minimum, you know, a few pennies to teach piano to the kids there, with the ethos that it gave them, you know, music. It gave them an option to not stay in the same position, to possibly to travel outside of the villages they lived in, and to take music as their vehicle. And it's certainly been a passport for me, and definitely for a lot of the people that my grandfather taught. I mean, some of them are now concert pianists and composers themselves. So, you know, it worked, and I'm doing a little bit of that myself. I love teaching, and I'm doing a little bit of youth work now. I'm writing a city right now, and I can get involved in doing some more of that, because it is really beneficial, I think, to have some music there to express yourself. And yeah,
lovely. So music runs in your veins and your family.
Completely does.
So
yeah.
I've always wanted to ask this. You said the word trip hop. I've heard of hip hop, but what exactly is trip hop for myself and the benefit of the listeners?
Oh no, for the benefit of the listeners, Sean doesn't really know. But I mean, it's a vibe, isn't it? I mean, it's slowed down. It's a little bit darker. It's not so much rapping. There's more production going on in there. And it's kind of, I suppose it's one of those genres that have been kind of designed for a hybrid of hip hop and kind of more ethereal music. Does that help?
Yeah, that has put some light on it. I've always wanted...
You know what I mean? I'm not really... I find that the labels that we've got for music are mainly for journalists to be able to get their head around things. You know, if you like something, you like it. Yeah, that's my attitude.
That's fine. So you have collaborated with some big names. Obviously, DJ Fresh was one of them on Louder, yeah. What was the feeling like when you got the phone call from DJ Fresh saying, would you like to collaborate on one of my records?
I was really chuffed. You know, he's known about us and we've known about him. It's quite a close-knit community, drum and bass and dance music. You know, it spreads around the world, but we all kind of keep an eye on what's going on. And Stan was keen to work with me. I was really flattered. And it was one of those experiences that sometimes it's really hard. You know, you get into a studio, you don't know what you're doing, and it can be really palm sweaty, difficult. But this was just fluid. You know, we didn't just write loud, we wrote a bunch of songs together. And made Hot Right Now came out of that session, and you know, it was just, we did a few sessions, and we were very prolific, we were very productive. It was great, it was very easy, but we knew as soon as Louder was down, we knew we were bouncing around the studio. It was just awesome, just a fabulous experience, and it did really well, didn't it?
Yeah, so you knew back then you had a hit on your hands.
I think we did with the energy. I mean, I remember watching Dan when he was mixing, and he turns the speakers up so ear-piercingly loud, and he was just sat in his chair by the studio and just bouncing up and down in his chair. And I thought, yeah, this feels like, I mean, that's how it felt when we did Hide You, back with Kosheen back in those olden days, and Catch. They had that kind of flavour of potential success, I suppose, and potential kind of accessibility. When you hear a song once and it's in your head for a week, then you know you're onto something.
That helps then when it's drilled into your head.
Yeah,
that's really interesting, because Rita Ora, she come off of the back of Hot Right Now, and you come on before her, didn't you? That Louder was released before Hot Right Now, so
yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, I was keen to sing Louder, Hot Right Now myself, but I'm really pleased that Rita did it, because she did really well with it, and it, you know, she took it to places that I wouldn't have been able to do. I mean, with her hot street sexy vibe, you know, she's so cool. And so that she wore that song really well. She put that jacket on and she wore that song really well.
I remember that video very well, yeah.
So proud, yeah.
Good stuff. So what's the feeling like? Do you still get the buzz when you hear your songs played at festivals or in the nightclub? What is that feeling like when you hear...
I do. I get a total buzz when I hear anything that I've done played on the radio. Yeah. I like wind the windows down and turn it up really loud.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a scenario where you've been in a club and they put Louder on and you're just like in the background and you're watching people dance to it? And
absolutely.
And you think to yourself that they don't know that it's me actually singing on that record. Have you been in that predicament?
I like that, but what I like more than that is that when friends of mine all over the world text me or Facebook me or, you know, message me, you're on the radio, it's like you're here with me. It's like and for my poor son, it's like I'm omnipresent. Sometimes if something is doing rather well, then it's on the radio a lot, and he's like, oh God, that woman, she's everywhere. It's quite nice. It's nice to know that, you know, your friends, wherever they are, if they hear you, that they can feel close to you. That's lovely.
Wow. Well done for that one, actually. So this is so cliche, but it's on my list of questions. Who would be your ultimate artist to work with if and why?
Oh man, I always get put on the spot here. There's so many. I like Calvin Harris. You know, I've been listening to, oh God, you got me on the back foot. What's the French duo that?
The Daft Punk.
No, not Daft Punk. The other one. Oh, you'll have to ask me this again when I've done a bit of, when I've got my my phone in front of me and I can look at what I'm listening to. I've been listening to so much new stuff recently. It's just been great.
Oh, music's so good.
I'm a real lover of Shazam. I'm just like Shazam and everything, past shop windows and stuff like that. Yeah. The Shazam themes. Discovering there's this woman called Aldous Harding I really love. I listen to quite chilled music. You wouldn't think, you know, that I would, coming from such a dance music background, that I'd listen to such, you know, downbeat stuff. But I really like female vocals. I'm a big Joni Mitchell fan. And yeah.
Wonderful. So that was that cleared up. So you're now disbanded by Kosheen.
It's a shame.
But let's move on to the present. What's it like being solo? Do you prefer working by yourself? You get more freedom, creative freedom to do what you want, or?
I like the fact that I'm working with musicians. I mean, I've put a band together, and when I was a kid, you know, when I was in my 20s or whatever, I always sang with bands, you know, and I grew up with bands, and it's lovely to have bands with me rather than, I know that, you know, the electronic dance music scene is brilliant, it's thriving, but it's nice to kind of cross that with some musicians and maybe have that backing kind of sequencer there and there, but to be able to have an actual guitarist, an actual drummer and a bass player, and be able to go from the chorus back to the bridge without worrying about reprogramming a computer. You know, that's the nice thing about it. And there's such a bunch of fantastic musicians as well musicians really communicate well with each other, and so we get on really well. We have a great time. We jam a lot. We write a lot, and that's the difference, I guess, from being in a very electronic situation to being with actual humanoids. It's nice. Yeah. So that's what I'm pursuing at the moment and developing. It began with a very, very acoustic kind of counterpoint to Kosheen and kind of just unplugging everything and being very organic. But now we're kind of mixing it up a bit. We've got some technology arrived into the sound of the band, and it's working really beautifully.
Well, good to hear. Good to hear. So your new music is well received in Europe, especially Ukraine, Russia. You told me that you toured there. What appeals to you about Europe?
I think it's more a question of what appeals to them. But you know, Russia is amazing. I've still got such a very strong following there, and now recognised as Sian Evans, and not just as, you know, the singer from Kosheen. So I'm pulling a decent crowd there. When I toured there, it's lovely, and they're so warm. You know, they're such warm people and very loyal music buffs. You know, they seek out music and they champion it, and you know, that's something that, you know, maybe there's not so much of maybe in the UK, because everything's so accessible and on a plate, you know, and lots of gigs to go to all the time. Yeah, I think that could be something, and they like my emotive performance. They like the songs that I write. They're very romantic people, the Russians, actually.
Oh wow! Well, you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
So
and extremely funny. If you crack the Russian sense of humour, it's really funny.
Good stuff. So I understand you were doing a homecoming tour in December. Tell us about this. Go on, plug.
It's not a tour. It's one gig. I mean, we're yet to complete the album, and I want to make that album really perfect. You know, it's been such a long time since I released anything, and to release something under my own name, it's got to be just right. So I'm taking my time. I'm working with producers that I really want to work with, and getting that album up and running. But I want to keep in the kind of consciousness, and the band is ready to do a fantastic gig. So we're doing a gig with the Future Dub Orchestra as well. It's going to be playing a Bristol band. It's fantastic. And actually, he's going to come and do half an hour. He's a friend of mine. He's a singer-songwriter. And we're going to be doing a nice big set of all the music that we've something new, borrowed and blue. On the 8th in the Globe.
Yeah. Right then,
So
we'll get that up on the website. And,
please do, yeah.
So that's already, I think it's up there already.
Yeah, it's not a big venue.
Yeah.
It's doing quite well, so yeah.
So,
Get down there.
Do you ever get nervous before a performance?
Yeah, I do, of course.
And I wanted to furthermore add, are nerves actually a good thing to have when you think about it?
I don't really like to call it nervous, although it feels like, it's what people feel when they get nervous. They get a little bit kind of heart beating, bit flustered. I go very quiet, which is unusual for me because, as you can tell, I'm a chatter. But it's adrenaline, it is. And the students that I work with, I try and get them to change the language. It's not fear, it's adrenaline. It's a necessary chemical. You need that to get yourself up there and on the stage and do it. So try and change it. I try to change the fear into adrenaline, and it works for me. We get the job done.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
But I get more nervous about a gig like in the Globe with 500 people than I do with like huge 30,000, crowds in festivals. I get more nervous with that intimacy.
Interesting.
Because I can see into your eyes.
Oh, fantastic. So now we're going to play one of your songs. It's called Boy in the Picture. I previewed this yesterday, and it's really good song, actually.
Thank you.
I give it 5 stars out of 5 stars. So.
Oh,
so
that's very kind.
Yeah, I am honest, And
it's got. Thank you. You need to be, and it's got a nice little message to it, isn't it? It's about being the child, respecting the person that the child within, I suppose. Being true to yourself.
Well, thank you for the interview, Sian.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
All the best with your new adventures. I'm going to play your new song, Boy in the Picture now. This is the extended version, so enjoy this one. FM1, FM
Lovely.
Exclusive. Thank you very much.
I'll put my feet up. You're welcome. See ya. Bye.